Good morning again. Morning, Tanya. Today is February 2nd, 2024. Very special day for me. Very special birthdays going on for someone. So everybody, it's only a little bit less than 6 o'clock in the morning. I got a little bit later again today. Yatzara and I had a good discussion. Again, I fooled Yatzara. I said that I'm coming to the kitchen to get a cup of tea. Be right back on that. So Yatzara is sleeping. I'm up. But all that maneuvering took some time. That's why I'm a little bit late. Instead of 5:45, it's almost 6. But we'll do a 10 minutes presentation. We'll continue on Tanya. We're now learning chapter 1 of 53, section 1, and going to section 2. And basically, introduction has completed. In our previous lessons, the previous morning wake-up calls, wake up and smell the coffee, sleepy head. In the previous one, we'll talk about introductions. And basically, introduction came into two things. Why Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi wrote the Tanya to begin with. And when you think about one of the things that Rabbi Chaim Miller, the writer or commentator of the book, is saying, because he wanted to find the better ways, the good, effective ways to show people how to get closer connection to God. And he's quoting in his writing that people ask him many questions. How do I get close to God? How do I get close to God? I still have troubles getting there. Well, that's not the only thing. That's not the only theme that people ask. Some people ask, I have a real issues. Somebody is sick or somebody doesn't have parnasa. So that's not directly closeness to God, although it's part of being closer to God. So is it somebody, everything is good in someone's, in a man's or woman's life, a woman's life, and he just wants to be closer spiritually to God, versus somebody else who actually real problems in life, and he wants to be close to God. To him, it means, help me, I have issues. So that is the theme, unfolding theme of the Tanya. So now we started to talk about the characteristics of your closeness to God. And basically, Talmud and Tanya goes through that, the concept of Ben Yoni. Talks about 5 categories of people. There are the people who are complete tzaddik, let's say in the extreme right of the spectrum. Then tzaddik or the incomplete. Then in betweener, and then on the other end of the spectrum will be Rasha, the bad person, and then very bad person, complete Rasha, incomplete. So 5 categories: tzaddik, complete, tzaddik, incomplete, in between Rasha and complete Rasha. But the words of the Talmud and the Tanya is not complete, not how badly he is Rasha, but tzaddik who has it bad, or Rasha who has it good, and that's a different concept. How come, why good people suffer? The classical question that has been asked for centuries, and to this day people ask this question. So anyway, so the Tanya goes through several ways to understand this comparison. One is, as I mentioned yesterday, one is just because Kabbalah might bring the concept that if someone's parents were bad, the father was bad, the person is bad, well, that's bad for him. And the father was good, but he is bad, then some benefits of the father's goodness passed on, and the bad person might not have it so bad. Or the good person whose father was bad also can have badness coming from the generations. And the good person whose father is good and whose maybe grandfather is good, that has it good. So another theory is that transmigrations, when that soul comes back from your previous life, and whatever things you did wrong there, you still continue punishments and working its way through in this world. So there are many theories why that happens. Which one is right, which is wrong, I don't know if anybody really knows. And who came with that, we're not going to discuss. But also, another concept is everybody in between has a little good with me and a little bad with me. So Tanya a little bit like mockingly, essentially saying, well, if I eat treif only twice a week and the rest of the time I eat good, does it mean that I'm mostly good? Well, it's a little bit silly example. If you eat treif a couple of times a week, that's not a good thing. If you're observant Jew. Well, if you're not observant Jew, it's probably not a good thing either. But who am I to preach to that? So, but that's, but in other ways, when a person dies and goes to heaven or whichever place he arrives, and God, with the ministering angels, weigh your souls for your quote of your life on earth and say, well, this person was like 65% good and 35% bad, so the scale going this way, and therefore you're going this way. And if it's 90% bad and only 10% good, then you go this way. So that becomes like a balance. Which one is more? That's probably also a very simplistic way of looking at it. That's just how the punishment, how divine punishment or reward gets applied. But the Tanya looks at it more in a spiritual way, in a characteristic of soul to respond to what happens in the world at the moment where you live. For example, let's make up an example. This may be a simplistic example to illustrate. Let's say, let's say the person comes in and sees a beautiful woman and he's attracted to a woman. He's a married guy, and all of a sudden he has bad thoughts. God forbid, right? So if he's a complete tzaddik, he is not affected by this at all. Good-looking girl going by, attracted. He has no thoughts in his head that he wished he goes after her or nothing. Like it's repulsive, repugnant to him. He can't even look at it. To him, it just doesn't make any sense. He doesn't have these characteristics. The dog, the wolf in his soul, Yetzirah, is completely destroyed. It just killed. Later we'll learn. Some very few people just don't have it to begin with. For some reason, God, Hashem, sends the soul into the world without even having this characteristic in his soul. Very few people have that. But most complete tzaddikim destroy this wolf completely, and they just simply don't have that ability to be attracted to inappropriate sight. The incomplete tzaddik, he has this dog. It's there, but he trained it. He tamed it. He put control. He suppressed it. And he is acting the same way as a complete tzaddik, but not because he doesn't have this dog, doesn't have this bad Yetzirah in his body, in his soul, but he is trained it and tamed it. Maybe he made this animal into the good one. He turned the wolf into the lamb. But it's still there, but he had taken care of that. Incomplete, he still has this bad thing, and he didn't really tame it, but he didn't turn it into something good, but he still controls it to some degree that he is not going to act on it. He still looks at the lady, he kind of gets into the bad thoughts, but he is managing the bad thoughts, he averts his eyes, and he's not reacting on it very much. So he's got this Yetzer Hara, the bad animal, so to speak, of the soul, under control. The number 4 will be now swinging to the minus of the spectrum. If it is somebody who is incomplete Rasha, he still has bad thoughts about it. He wishes he goes after this girl, but he doesn't do that. But he has his thoughts, and he is smacking his tongue, and he has bad thoughts. The real bad Rasha will not only smack his tongue, wet his tongue and look at the girl, but he's also make a phone call and try to arrange a meeting with her, even though he's a married guy and he is a really bad person. It's very, very wrong. That's just examples how these 5 categories would work. Let's say an example to the non-kosher tray food. Complete tzaddik just simply is not having any interest to eat non-kosher food, none at all. He doesn't have it in his. He tamed the appetite dog. He didn't tame it, he destroyed it. Incomplete tzaddik, he tamed it. He doesn't even want this food, but it's in him, but it's completely in a cage. He has no desire to do it because he locked that desire into the cage. In-betweener, Benoni, he kind of wants it, but he says, no, I know we're not supposed to eat it. I'm not going to have it. Sorry, no tray for me. He would like to eat it, perhaps. It probably smells good and tastes good. So he responds to his feelings, respond to that, but he's not following on his feeling. Incomplete Rasha would probably say, well, it might not be treif. I'm not sure. It's probably not treif. I got in the store. Let me have it. He has this. It's probably not a cheeseburger. It's probably just burger with maybe just meat yellowed a little bit. So he finds an explanation when he eats it. He knows he shouldn't do it. He ate it. And then somebody tells him, you ate treif. Oh, I ate treif. I didn't. So he kind of suspected it wasn't for sure, but he still followed on this, and unfortunately sinned. Complete Russia just simply eat this cheese sandwich and doesn't worry about it and tells other people, you guys are silly. What's wrong with that? It's God made cheese sandwiches. We have to make cheese sandwiches and don't worry about it. That's two examples. I hope this illustration helps. Today is Friday. Tomorrow is Shabbat. So we're going to skip the lesson tomorrow. Tomorrow, no recording. So I can sleep. I still get up early for the Shakrit, but a little bit later. So I get the opportunity to sleep a little bit and catch up tomorrow. All right. I hope you enjoyed that little video. So come on Sunday again at 5:45 in the morning in Rinat Yerushalem. Rinat, happiness, Yerushalem to Jerusalem. And we will continue. We'll move on from now that we know roughly the definitions of Benoni. And Tanya begins to dwell in it, and we'll start getting to the point why we're learning all that. Are we learning because we want to get closer to God? Yes, we do. But how do you handle the other situation? How do you handle problems in life? What helps me to be more content? When somebody's in pain, how are you going to tell him if you get closer to God, you will not be in pain? Do you have to accept it? How do you accept it? It's very difficult situations, and anybody should be in that position. But Tanya goes in that as well. All right, guys. Shabbat Shalom, and talk on Sunday.